So this typeface is called Tribute, and it's kind of the workhorse. It's kind of the typographic cornerstone. And I looked at a lot of different fonts, and I liked them, but they were a little bit, they didn't really say the book's mission to me. This is all about sort of getting the point across about modern eyes kind of reinterpreting tradition. So, you know, there's ways of going about talking about, you know, something old by kind of weathering it and things. And I have nothing wrong with that. I think that's fine. In a certain way, that's something that happens all the time because the computer's so precise that people kind of want to do something to make it not so perfect because not so perfect feels more human, feels a little more friendly. So I kind of understand that instinct, but I was looking for something that, like, the drawing of it was kind of idiosyncratic enough. Yeah, like, well, it sort of had different different kind of nuances, like a great conversation, like somebody, you know, you look at somebody and they're the amalgam of things. So this is actually a face that was drawn about 10 years ago by a German designer, and he found this like 16th century manuscript, and he photocopied it 3 times so that it got really rough. And then he used that as the basis so that he couldn't kind of copy it. But what he loved about it is this is at the time where every single kind of weight, you know, like meaning every different size of a type was cut individually by someone called a punch cutter. So if you had the same typeface, like a littler version was slightly different from the larger version because it was all done by hand. So he found this manuscript and just loved it. And so it has all these funny things, like that bowl getting so big and the descenders not aligning. He kind of did all that on purpose. But the A looked really kind of welcoming to me. You know, like there's things about it that sort of feel like, well, that's kind of like someone I want to listen to. That's someone that's going to tell me a story. The other thing that he did was he kind of burnished it slightly so that it looks like what happens when type used to hit paper and sort of spread a little bit. It's a little bit round, which also gives it a little bit more of a welcoming quality.
So am I.
I wasn't thinking of that.
Well, so do you want to walk us through the pages?
Sure. This is an opening spread using the local scenes in Kinston. I love this, but when I started to work with this, there were 2 things that I had to address. One was that it's a big book, so the photography actually is going to be needed on a lot of the pages within the chapters. The other thing is that if we use photography and type to tell a story that's this big, then it becomes kind of seamless. And over that many pages, I started to get worried that it would not necessarily have the announcements that were needed. We need to kind of have like these moments where we're sort of positioned that this is the new ingredient. This is like sort of the hub. I started to try to look for something that was a surprise, this thing that became sort of iconic. And so here the sort of texture of the painting is kind of in the type, but then this is just sort of a flat color background, so it's really clean, you know, sort of the modern elements meeting the things that feel hand done. It's just the kind of this fun, you know, fresh ingredient, colorful.
And it breaks
feeling.
everything up. I mean,
it breaks everything up.
Wow.
So this is, we know what keeps you up at night. This is what keeps me up at
Wow.
night.
I mean, I'm like font size 12. I'm excited. I'm ready for you to get to work so I can see all of it.